Horacio Pena, 28 years old, born, lives in Mexico. 6 wins, 3 losses. His earned run average impressive, 2.76. What about him, Monty Moore? You watched him all year.
He throws a natural sinker off that sidearm delivery, and that is his underarm delivery. He'll turn that ball over with real good speed.
Almost submarine, not quite.
You can see his right wrist roll over there. That's his natural pitch. He also throws a crazy-looking changeup, but I don't think you'll see him throw it with 2 men on base here. He wants the sinker down. He'd like to get the double play. And there's John Odom joining Darrell Knowles out in the Oakland bullpen.
All right, this is Pena's first World Series appearance. And he's facing Jerry Grody. The catcher of the Mets has popped up, reached in an error by third baseman Sal Bando. The A's are ahead 3-2. The Mets are threatening now. And he's hit by a pitch ball to load the bases. Grody's hit on the left arm.
He was hit earlier this year on the hand and had a fracture.
Didn't look like he picked that pitch up at all. He hardly moved, and it was in on him in a hurry.
Now let's see where he hit him. On the forearm.
Left wrist, left forearm. I think he was just trying to take a look. Take one pitch off Pena to see his delivery and follow the ball, and he didn't move at all. Let's look at it again. Pena coming from down under, as Monty Moore just told you. Grody going into his stride, stepping into it with that shoulder just a little bit. Hardly moved.
He hardly had time. That ball really gets moving when he throws it like that at times, and it's in on you before you have a chance to do anything.
Starts in the inside part of the strike zone, and it bored in on him about, like 2 feet. Got him.
He's all right. He's going to stay in. He'll feel worse tomorrow, though, in that arm. They'll get some ice on it after the game. Keep the swelling down. And now it's Don Hahn up with the bases loaded, 1 out.
Kelly, where the ball hit him. No argument there, Augie says. Did not hit your bat.
That's one time they didn't point to the shoe polish. Bases loaded. The A's bring the infield in. 1 out for the Mets. Hahn is grounded out, line to right. Hahn hits a little roller. This will be a tough play. They can't make it. The game's tied. Bando couldn't get to it. Pena ran right by the ball. And it's a tie game. This is Jones.
Let's look at it again. A little topper. Pena was pitching from the stretch. Bando had just one chance to barehand it. Here it is again. Let's watch Sal. Dick Williams came out right after the completion of this play and said to Sal, did you touch that ball or not? If you did not, it is a foul ball. Bando said to him, we have no argument. I touched the ball. It's a fair ball.
Now you can see it very obviously there in the replay. It's skidded out of his hands. Don Hahn is given a base hit and an RBI. Left-hander is starting to warm up. Tug McGraw in the Met bullpen. The Mets still have the bases loaded, 1 down. They tied the game at 3-all. And Bud Harrelson's the batter. He struck out, flied out. And the A's have the infield in once more. The lead runner now is Milner at third. There's a foul back out of play. Grody's at second, and Hahn's at first. So they haven't had the ball by 90 feet and 2 batters against Pena, but they scored.
Kind of evens up for all those line drives, Kurt, they've hit in this series, and they say it all evens up.
It does. It always has a way of doing it. 3-3 game now in the 6th inning. Mets with a bases loaded, 1 out. Ball, 1 strike 1 to Bud Harrelson. Harrelson has played shallow in that outfield and over to left. Joe Rudy is really crowding that left field line. Harry Parker, the Met pitcher, on deck. We'll see what Harrelson does. That probably will dictate Berra's decision. And he's got a base hit into right field. Coming in to score is Milner. Rudy is held at third, and the Mets take the lead for the first time, 4-3. Harrelson spikes the single to right, scoring Milner. Both those runs are charged to Vida Blue. And the Mets still have the bases loaded. And now Harry Parker is being called back. The Mets have their ace warming up, McGraw. Barrow wants more runs. So Parker's coming back. And let's see who comes out now. Garrett, he's on deck. He won't be the batter. We're waiting for the pinch hitter. They like Boswell against a right-hander.
He has Hodges, left-handed, Cranepool, left-handed, Boswell, but he does not want to waste his best left-handed pinch hitter because he does have a one-run lead. What might happen if he put up Boswell, they'd bring in Knowles, they'd have to put up a right-hander. Yogi would use his best pinch hitter.
But Cranepool's getting a bat.
Right, that's Eddie.
All right, Ed Cranepool will come up to bat for Harry Parker. So that leaves the Mets with Hodges and Boswell, left-handed pinch hitters. Dyer, Beecham, Mays, and Martinez is right-handed pinch hitter. Martinez was a switch hitter until August, late August, and he quit and went right-handed. Cranepool, .239 batter this year, with 1 homer, 35 RBIs.
See now if Williams makes the move. Yes, he is. As soon as that hitter Cranepool was announced, put officially in the ballgame, Williams is coming out. He's signaling for Knowles. Now we may see who? Willie Mays?
Oh, we could. They have Beecham. They have Dyer. The wheels are turning, and another break in the action here at Oakland with a score. The New York Mets 4 and the Oakland A's 3.
To the equitable agent, no two people are alike.
Is there anyone else in the whole human race with your kind of style and your kind of grace?
No two people are alike. That's why your equitable agent thinks of you as an individual. His training and thinking are shaped around you and your life insurance needs. To the equitable agent,
there's nobody else exactly like you. Nobody else like you.
There's a Sony stereo radio with speakers built in, so it's portable.
Sony and provolone.
There's a Sony clock radio with black light digits.
Very heavy westbound on the South Expressway north of exit 21.
Say, it is a Sony.
Motors heading uptown should exit at the Farmington.
There's an FM/AM weather band Sony that's pocket size.
Climb up on my knees, Sony boy.
Whatever you want in a radio, you'll find in the Sony. No baloney.
The Mets now have switched. They Derek Cranepool, he's out of the game. He was announced as a pinch hitter. He's now being removed. Cranepool was hitting for the pitcher, Parker, and now Jim Beecham is going to bat for Cranepool to get the right-hander in. The bases are loaded, 1 out. The Mets have scored 2 runs, and they have the lead. Now watch for some kind of trickery here on a pickoff somewhere. There's a foul ball back. The A's like to pull trick plays. They could put a count on with Tennis sneaking in behind at first base, or the count and Knowles whirling and trying to pick off at second. Maybe they won't do it, but you have to be alert.
The Mets have 2 different coaches have warned Hahn at second base. They've had a scout following the A's, D. Fondy, for about a month and a half, and he's seen it.
Knowles came in yesterday. There's a bouncing ball to the box. Threw it away! He threw it away! 1 run is in, and another run scores. He had the double play. He lost his footing. He let the ball go without the proper footing or balance and threw it away. A perfect double play ball to him.
Curtis, the excitement of World Series play. Knowles trying to make the play quicker than he had to. He had a sure, easy double play home to first base. His cleats got tangled up. He toppled over and threw it wildly.
And the Mets have come up with 4 runs in the 6th inning. Here it is.
Look at it again. Hot smash off the bat of Jim Beecham right to Knowles. Fosse will get ready for the play at the plate. There he goes, losing his footing, tripping, throwing wildly. And the Mets may just have broken the ball game wide open.
What a costly error that was. 2 runs in, moving on to second and third. There's a drive down the left field line. That's twisting foul into the A's bullpen. The batter's Wayne Garrett, who likes to hit that first pitch. And now you have Harrelson over at third. Beecham went all the way to second on the wild throw. and he had wrapped into what looked like almost certainly the inning-ending double play. It is now 6-3, the Mets leading. Outside. Yesterday they blew the ball game in an error, and today the A's are making the costly mistakes. Harrelson, the lead runner, beats him at second. Those runs are charged to Pena. 2 of the runs have been charged to Vida Blue. Brody and Hahn's runs have been charged to Pena. Change up. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Garrett is the 8th batter up for the Mets. They still have only 1 out. Oh, they're in a great shape right now to do something. And Garrett looks at that fastball on the outside corner. Struck him out, and a big out for Darrell Knowles and the A's. Felix Millan has struck out, grounded out, hit into a force play. Rusty Staub is on deck, the left-hander. Millan, very difficult man to strike out. Darrell Knowles, 6 wins, 8 losses this year, 9 saves, lives in Blue Springs, Missouri, 31 years old. Tug McGraw is walking in now from the bullpen to the Met dugout. He'll come on to pitch in the last of the 6th inning. Millan takes ball 1. The 9th man up for the Mets in the top of the 6th. Harrelson at third, Beecham at second. Fastball is away from him. 2-0. John Odom continues to loosen up in the A's bullpen. Two balls and no strikes. Check swing for ball 3. 3-0.
Saw Posse point to first base as this pitching series started, and now he's going to go ahead and walk him. He had told Darrell, I think, use your head now. Don't throw a tough pitch here to him.
They're letting Staub come onto the plate. The injured Rusty Staub. The Mets have batted around in the 6th inning. Staub is now the 10th man up. He's grounded out, flied out, and struck out. 4 runs in for New York. They're leading Oakland 6-3. And here's the RBI leader for the season, Rusty Staub. Harrelson's at third. Beecham's at second. Pitch is high for a ball. Millan's at first. One ball, no strikes. He's outside. Knowles having trouble finding the plate. 2-0.
Kurt, in the last couple of years, 4 times he's, with the bases loaded, walked in a winning run of a ball game. He has a tough time pitching with the bases loaded, throwing the ball because he's a nibbler up there.
Well, that's his situation right now. He has the bases loaded, and he's in with a strike. 2-1 to Rusty Staub. Rusty says, well, it's going to happen. 2 balls, 1 strike. Fouls it back, 2-2 count. Rusty's changed gloves from last time up. He had a yellow and a blue. He's what we call in the NBC booth a glove changer. He always wears golf gloves in both hands. 2-2. Bases loaded. And he hits a fly ball into right center. Over for it and making the grab is Reggie Jackson to retire the side. 4 runs in, though, and the Mets lead now 6-3.
The Chrysler has always been designed with the idea that it should be an automobile of integrity and beauty. Introducing a totally new expression of that idea. A Chrysler with an altogether new appearance. A Chrysler with an abundance of comfort. See the 1974 Chrysler New Yorker. A totally new expression of an idea that has never changed.
All the time people ask me, why don't you guys change your name? Goodrich, Goodyear, pretty confusing. And Goodyear's done more advertising. Look, I say, for 5 years nationally, we've advertised nothing but radial tires. We introduced the first one made in America. Now, you'll probably see Goodyear featuring a steel radial, too. You get confused? Look up in the sky. You see an enormous blimp up there with somebody's name on it? We're the other guys.
If you want Goodrich, you'll just have to remember Goodrich.
World Series night game, Tuesday night, Wednesday night at Shea Stadium, and we're into the 5th game. It'll be Thursday night, all starting at 8 o'clock, our coverage. Tom Seaver and Jim Hunter, as we've said, will be the opposing pitchers, the right-handers. Seaver, the ace of the Mets staff, Hunter, the ace of the A's staff. What a matchup. There's Seaver in the dugout. The Mets announced that a limited number of upper stand reserved general admission tickets on an individual game basis will go on sale at Shea Stadium at 9 a.m. Monday morning for games 3, 4, and 5 of the series. The tickets are $8 each. There's a limit of 2 to a customer. The sale will be conducted at the ticket booths at gates A, B, C, D, and E. And Charlie Finley told me that the A's will leave, what, an hour and a half after this game? Monty?
Yes, Kurt, an hour and a half after the game, the A's will leave from the Oakland International Airport, and there will be a going away send-off staged by the city at the Air Cargo Center. That's located to the right of the main terminal building, and the public is invited to come out and give a send-off to the Oakland A's. That's at the Air Cargo Center. No one will be allowed in the main terminal.
All right, Jesus Alou has doubled and singled. Alou, Fosse, and Green facing Tug McGraw. McGraw pitched 2 scoreless innings yesterday. Looked very impressive. 25 saves this year. Slow curve to him. The A's 3 runs down. McGraw had 27 saves in 72. There's a one-hopper hit to Garrett. That's a fair ball. Garrett's there, and it's 1 down.
Watch Wayne again. Playing up in front of the bag to Alou. I don't believe Alou bunts too much. Comes down in foul territory, but the ball was in fair territory when he caught it.
1 out. Ray Fosse up. Reese done in there. Had an intentional pass. Play him deep straight away. There's a ground ball. Neon, beautiful pickup. He has him. Two down. Slick play by Meon.
He's the steadiest player on this Mets team all year long. Unfortunately, he made the air yesterday, but that's not going to bother him. He's a real professional.
Angel Manuel now is coming up to bat for Dick Green. The A's have 2 out, nobody on. They're trailing in the last of the 6th inning, 6-3. That's a strike. And Darren Johnson's out on deck to bat if he gets a shot. He'd hit for the pitcher Knowles. Manuel lined to the shortstop as a pinch hitter yesterday. Darren Johnson, who is the A's designated hitter this year. There's no designated hitting in the World Series. 1 ball, 1 strike. Foul back, 1-2. Well, the A's have Davalillo and Burke as left-handed pinch hitters left in their dugout. Right-handers, Conigliaro, Andrews, Johnson, Lewis, and Kubiak. And maybe Jim Hunter. There's a drive down the left field line. That is a, what is it, foul ball. And the hometown fans won't like that. Cleon Jones says, good call.
Left field foul line umpire Harry Wendelstadt took a good close look at it. He at first started to signal fair, but he wanted to make sure. He saw the chalk fly. Just catching the outside part of the foul line on a very close call.
That's an odd angle in our replay, but I'll tell you, I would have hated to call that one.
I would too.
Odd angle, but real chalk flying.
You're saying? 1 ball, 2 strikes. Angel Mangual, and he strikes out. And the A's are gone. 1, 2, 3 in the last of the 6th. At the end of 6, it is the Mets 6 and the A's 3.
Injector shavers, the best shave of your life is just ahead. Introducing Track 2 Twin Injector Blades. Twin blades that fit your injector razor. Now you can get twin blade closeness and safety. As the first edge shaves, it lifts the whisker so the second edge can shave it again. With closeness and safety never possible from injector shaving until Track 2 Twin Injector Blades. New from Gillette. For the best injector shave of your life.
Nobody wants to look at underarm stains, but they're a real problem. You use an antiperspirant and you still get stains. Stains that won't wash out. Well, now there's a new antiperspirant. The first anti-stain antiperspirant by Right Guard. A new powder so effective, it helps stop wetness and stains. See for yourself. New Right Guard Powder Dry Antiperspirant. It's the first anti-stain antiperspirant by Right Guard.
Now, program note, NBC, who pioneered in television with its Today and Tonight programs, now brings you Tomorrow, an innovative late show hosted by Tom Snyder. For provocative and informative entertainment, be sure to watch Tomorrow, following The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson every Monday through Thursday. Tomorrow premieres tomorrow night, right here on NBC. Let's take a look at that drive by Mangual again down the left field line. I think this is from a different angle. See what you think, Tony.
Putting me on the spot, aren't you? Wendelstadt wasn't sure. Well, it's close. It is close. Come to think of it, I might not have seen any chalk flying. I'm not trying to protect an umpire, but it's an awful difficult call, and only one man has the proper angle, Wendelstadt.
All right, there's a bounding ball by Cleon Jones to Sal Bando, and there's 1 down in the 7th inning. Jones previously had homered, single, and walked. You know, on that rerun, it looked like the ball was foul. On the previous one, it appeared to be fair. There's an old saying, pictures don't lie, but sometimes pictures do. It depends upon the angle. That's why the umpires rehearse, train themselves, practice to get in the proper angle to call plays. Angles mean everything. Milner's grounded out, flat out, and single. The curve is over for a strike. Darrell Knowles. In relief, he'll be leading off the last of the 7th. He'll undoubtedly bat for him. His curve is the ball, 1-1. John Milner, just 23 years old. Ball 2, 2-1. When the Mets came out of spring training, they thought they'd win their division. Little did they know they were going to have, 8 fractures? All kinds of injuries and hard luck. But you have to give them credit, they hung in. Jerry Grody on deck. Ball 2. And they had just enough talent left on the field, even though they had injured players, to stay close. Nobody ran away from them. And when they got their team back together, they had by far the best pitching staff. And they rolled in September. And that Bossy's hit that time. They say, Monty and Tony, that the Mets would win this World Series. It would be another miracle. I don't think so. Not with the pitching they have and the type of team.
The momentum they had coming in here. Yeah. You don't win 20 of your last 28 games in championship competition as they had, and every single day they played, it was a tough day. It's like a World Series every day.
That's no miracle.
Let's watch that last pitch. Fosse apparently hit on the right foot. Let's take a look at it, see if we can pick it up with Milner at bat.
And Milner fouls that one off.
Let's look at it again. A little slider that he topped.
Right off the right instep.
Yeah. Catchers take a beating, don't they?
Some catchers' fingers. Fossey gets bad toes all year.
That's a ground foul by John Milner. The count holds at 3-2. Our score is New York 6, Oakland 3. The Mets are batting in the top of the 7th. They have one away and the bases are empty. Milner moves on to first. 2 walks, a hit batsman, and a walk in the 6th and 7th inning have been given up by the A's pitcher. Bando, Campaneris, Kubiak, Tennis, now the A's infield. 1 down. Milner at first. Pitches low for a ball. The only defensive change we've had for the A's. There's Tennis holding against Milner. Green lifted for the pinch hitter. Jerry Grody. Been on twice, but by a hit batsman and an error. Runner going. Hit and run. It works. Coming on is Milner to third. Rudy sees he can't get him there, and he makes a wise choice and pegs into second. A hit and run execution. Milner running on the pitch. So that puts runners on first and third for the Mets, 1 out.
Mentioned earlier, the Mets are not a base-stealing team, but you can do other things. They did it just then, starting a base runner. Campaneris was actually the player who was going over to cover second base. I don't think he would have had the ball anyway. It was hit so sharply. Yogi with this lead, starting to move some base runners. Let's watch Milner again, getting the jump, looking over his shoulder, making sure he can find the ball. If it's popped up, the infielders at times will decoy you to get you to slide into second base. They can double you up.
Don Hahn has grounded out, line to right, and had an infield roller that produced a run. So he's 1 out of 3. Lindblad and Odom now are warming up in the A's bullpen. Runners on first and third as the move to first, and Grody's back. Each team has 7 hits. But the A's have made a couple of bad defensive plays. The Mets have 2 homers, and they lead 6-3. Thinking pitch, turned it over on him. 1 ball, 1 strike. Don Hahn. Bud Harrelson due up behind him.
Kurt, if the background is bad today like yesterday, the Mets hitters are not showing it. They are aggressive at the bat.
1-1. Trying to go to right. Foul ball back, 1-2. Yeah, they were aggressive Sunday, that Sunday game a week ago, today in Cincinnati. They swung the bat yesterday and today here in the World Series. And there's Harrelson, who stuck in a big hit in the 6th inning. A line drive single that knocked in a run. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Curve is inside, and the count 2-2. Let's spot your runners again for you. Milner's over at third. And at first base, Grody. 1 out. Jackson playing fairly shallow in right center. That curve strikes him out, makes it 2 down. And here's little Bud Harrelson up now. Milner either getting a rock out of his shoe or fixing the shoelaces. Bando went over to say something to his pitcher. And here's Bud Harrelson, a switch hitter, struck out, flied out, and singled.
Watch a play again. Bando is giving a few signals. He's the team captain and starts some of these plays.
The strike to Harrelson. Doug McGraw, the Met pitcher, in the on-deck circle.
Should that base runner start, Bando has already given the signal what Fosse should do. Throw through, fake the third, throw to a cutoff man.
Sinking fastball. Strike 2 to Bud Harrelson. Quick look to the A's dugout and a look to Miller by Bando. Harrelson's being played shallow to the opposite field by the A's, except left fielder Rudy. That's the way they've been playing many of these Mets hitters, leaving a big gap at left center. And there's a fly ball to deep left. Rudy was there for him, and luckily, as we said, he was playing in straight away and left. Oh, no runs. 2 left, and at the end of 6.5, it is 6-3 New York.
Today's family car could build more engine heat than a racing car going 3 times as fast. Heavy loads, turnpike speeds, and the power equipment in today's cars build up severe heat that may rob your motor oil of its full power to protect your engine. For your peace of mind, Quaker State urges you to change your oil as soon as your owner's manual says to. And use only a premium oil made to take the heat. For your peace of mind, specify Quaker State.
I feel it! I feel it!
You can feel the difference with Uniroyal steel-belted radials.
Look what happens when you turn on a regular bias-ply tire. Part of the tread leaves the ground.
But the Uniroyal radial has flexible sidewalls, so you have more tire on the road to turn quick and stop short.
I feel it.
It's the Uniroyal feel. You'll feel it, too.
Hey, I feel it.
Is it catching?
Charlie Finley and Bob Hope. Bob Hope threw out the first ball today. Finley doesn't look too happy right now. He's clubbed 3 runs down. Casey Stengel's always happy. The old left-handed dentist. Wonder how good a dentist he was. And a young A's fan, a little tired from all the excitement here of the World Series. What a shot that was. Doug McGraw, the first pitcher in Met history to beat Sandy Koufax in '65 as a raw rookie. He coined the rallying cry of the Mets this year, "You gotta believe." And he hopes to believe in himself. He's facing Billy Canigliaro, a pinch hitter. He'll be batting for Darrell Knowles in the last of the 7th. For those that joined us late, the A's scored 2 runs in the first, a run in the second. The Mets had a run in the second on Jones's home run. Garrett hit a homer in the third. And the Mets broke loose with 4 runs in the 6th inning. 2 of them scoring on a bad throw to home plate by the pitcher, Darrell Knowles, who had a perfect double play ball set up that could have got him out of the inning. Billy Canigliaro, who had won the center field job, spring training, striked on a slow pitch, and then had his knee injured and went under knee surgery, come back. Had a great fielding play in the playoffs against Baltimore. His brother Tony had his career ruined. He was struck in the face by a pitch ball and had bad vision. Ground ball to Meehan. Billy Canigliaro's out. 1 down in the 7th. Canigliaro's really come back from that knee. He moves.
I understand his brother Tony is going to try and make a comeback next spring.
I think he's reporting to the Salt Lake team, which is an Angels farm club. Tony's a property of the California Angels. He had a tough break for a young man. Bert Campaneris has tripled in 3 times. We're at the top of the A's batting order. They shorten up at first and third, and McGraw slips the strike across. Mets leading 6-3. Strike 2, 0-2. John Odom will warm up again in the A's bullpen. Oh, hit down. There goes his helmet. He's hit on the head to the back of the neck.
You may see it again on the replay. That's Joe Romo, the A's trainer. It appears that the ball hit the helmet. The helmet had not yet fallen off Bert's head.
How many times have you and I seen players saved from serious injury by the batting helmets now?
I couldn't count them, Curtis. I know Monty has too many times. He appears to be shook up. Williams wants to make sure. No ball, 2-strike count. Bert trying to get his left arm in the way of his head, and Monty, I don't know for sure, but I think that helmet had flipped off his head and caught him a grazing blow on the side. Here's the pitch, a fastball from McGraw. He throws inside on occasion, right off the top of the helmet, fortunately.
It hit his helmet. He's on first, hit by the pitch ball, 1 out, and Joe Rudy up has doubled, singled, bounced to the pitcher. Rudy's driven in a run. Our score, Game 2 of the World Series, 73, 6-3, the New York Mets. Last of the 7th. Crowd yelling, go, 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 but the A's can't afford to be gambling here. 3 runs back. Unless Campaneris thinks he's got a lock at stealing a base. Ball 1 to Joe Rudy. Sal Bando's on deck. So McGraw has 2 rough right-handers he has to face.
Curtis, Bert Campaneris is just the type of emotional player as we saw last year in the championship series against Detroit. Even 3 runs down, he's liable to go for second base.
1 ball, no strikes. A check swing by Rudy. It's ball 2, 2-0. Dick Williams. Behind Rudy, 2 balls and no strikes. Rudy's being played straight away and deep, way deep in the Mets outfield. 3-0. Look how deep the outfield's going to be playing Rudy. They're just 3 or 4 steps in front of the warning path, Monty.
Baltimore had the same kind of setup against Oakland. They had their outfielders very, very deep against several of the players, including Campaneris.
Well, they don't want a ball to get over them now. They'd rather have one drop in front of them.
George Stone now starting to throw for the Mets.
Ball 4.
McGraw shook up after hitting Campaneris. Here comes Rube Walker.
Well, after getting the first out, McGraw has hit Campaneris, walked Joe Rudy. Now Bando's up. Bando has tripled, struck out, and fouled out. And Rube Walker, the pitching coach, to the mound.
Bando representing the tying run in this ball game for the Oakland A's. And I think, as we look at Eddie Yost and Yogi Berra on the Mets bench, I think a lot of players, Monty, I don't know if you'll agree, a lot of the players felt that Bando was the most valuable player on this Oakland A's team this year. Gotten some big hits.
He certainly finished strongly. It is interesting, different comments, whether they picked Jackson or Bando. I think Bando himself feels Reggie was.
Williams hopes his man can come through. Campaneris at second, Rudy at first, 1 out. Bando the batter. A triple and 3 times up today. Ball 1 by Tug McGraw. I think he's trying to turn that ball over on him, and his screwball's not working right for him. 1 ball, no strikes. He likes to feed the right-hander that screwball, breaking away. They try and pull it. They slap it on the ground. Campaneris dancing around in the background. There it is. Pull him on that one. 1 ball, 1 strike. 6-3 Mets. The A's now threatening in the last of the 7th. Just missed, blowing away again. 2 balls and a strike. He's not giving Bando a fastball. Mead trying to bluff Campaneris back. Bando fouls it back, and our count goes to 2-2.
Good call up in the strike zone.
Two balls, two strikes. Campaneris going. He steals third. Campaneris stole third. Bando was called out as Campaneris stole third. Well, that's the second out. There's Campaneris on third. That's his second stolen base of the series. Reggie Jackson was struck out, grounded out, and singled. Campaneris stole 3 bases in the playoffs against Baltimore, and 2 now in the World Series against the Mets. Jackson, 1 out of 3. 2 out, runners on first and third, and the A's are trailing by 3. And he hits it in the right center. Campaneris scores. Rudy's going to third, and headlong into second is Jackson. He evidently is coming out of his slump, and we now have a 6-4 game. Mets are ahead.
Kurt, there is an example of taking advantage of Rusty Staub's throwing arm.
And he hits it in the right center. Campaneris scores. Rudy's going to third, and headlong into second is Jackson. He evidently is coming out of his slump. Series would go 7 games, didn't he?
Yep.
2 balls, no strikes to Felix Millan. 2 outs for the Mets. Now Odom drops behind him 3-0.
You said it yesterday during our telecast, there's Williams, that Dick is very conscious of not being overconfident about this Mets team. He knows they're not the team that played the first 5 months of the year with a lot of bad statistics. They're the one that they're meeting right now that played the last 6 weeks.
3-0 pitch. That's a strike for Millan. He also knows they're hot. He knows they have good pitching. And he knows it's an inspired team. They keep coming back right at you. 3 balls and 1 strike. 2 down, nobody on. High fly, straightaway center, very shallow. Reggie Jackson's there. And the side is out 1-2. At the end of 7.5 innings, it's still the Mets 6 and the Oakland A's 4.
Beauty. We do not always agree on its definition. But if beauty can be grace, spirit, dignity, and strength, then surely many will consider this truly beautiful. The 1974 Imperial LeBaron. Some will find beauty in the precision of LeBaron's design and assembly. For others, it will lie in things of touch and texture, of convenience and comfort. Ultimately, only you may decide if all this fits your own personal definition of beauty. If so, then we welcome you to Imperial LeBaron, a proud new generation of luxury motor car from Chrysler.
And now a program note from NBC. Dennis Weaver turns bank robber long enough to demonstrate a point until the real robbers show him how it should be done. It's a special 2-hour season premiere of McCloud on the Sunday Mystery Movie at 8:30 Eastern Time, 7:30 Central Time, right here on NBC. Tug McGraw, one stretch this year, 15 games, had picked up only 2 saves. He'd gone so bad that Yogi Berra gave him 2 starts. First time he'd started since September of '71. Wanted to get his confidence back, to no avail. Finally, I guess at the end of the year, Yogi said, here's a ball, go out and pitch. We need you, you've got to do it for us. And McGraw came through it. He's facing Jesus Alou. Double, single, and grounded out. Ball 1. We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC Television Network. One and 1 to Jesus Alou. This is Kurt Gowdy, Monty Moore of the Oakland A's. And Tony Kubek from the Oakland Coliseum. McGraw had some control problems. He feeds him the off. I tell you, that pitch really is something here. Ray Fosse's on deck. When we moved to New York, the announcer of the home team, the New York Mets, Lindsey Nelson, will join me on television, join Tony and me. 2-2 pitch, ball 3. And Monty, you'll go on over to radio, right?
Right, Jim Simpson.
We'll be talking to millions of people around the world that's carried on Armed Forces Radio. 3-2 to Jesus Alou. And it's a foul ball. Looked like it might have been ball 4 inside to him.
McGraw's screwball does not act the same all the time. He changes speeds on it. Sometimes he'll take something off, it will go down more than away, and he'll throw a little bit harder one. But he shoots for that outside corner to right-handed hitters.
Ground ball hit the second baseman, Meon. 1 out for the A's in the last of the 8th. The Mets are on top 6-4 right now. And Ray Fosse's the batter. Fosse has walked, reached in an error, and grounded out. I have a hunch that Tug McGraw is going to be a busy reliever in this series, the way Raleigh Fingers was last year for the A's. Fingers appeared in 6 games. Now the batter is Fosse, and coming out on deck to pinch hit is Mike Andrews. Ball 1 to Ray Fosse. He's reached in an error, walked and grounded out. There is Mike Andrews, released by the White Sox this year. Big hopper hit to Meon again. And Felix pegs him out, and they're 2 down. We now have Mike Andrews.
You can see these hitters are trying to go the opposite way up. It's going to be Andrews, Kurt.
Yep.
He started to call him back, but then he sent him back up. They're trying to hit the opposite way, and McGraw also throws a little bit of a slider that he's hit them on the fist with. He sets them up with that screwball.
Andrews is hitting for Kubiak. Pitch is in for a strike. Andrews hit 190. Darren Johnson's out on deck. He's trailing by 2 to the box. McGraw, plenty of time, throws out pinch hitter Andrews, and McGraw sails through the last of the 8th. At the end of 8 is 6-4 Mets.
Port of Yokohama, Japan, the other side of the world. But certain things are the same in any language, things you share with every man. And that's what makes it Augusta world. Because you only go around once. And when you reach for Augusta, you're reaching all the way. Even in your beer, Schlitz.
Once around living, once around beer, and you'll keep around Schlitz. Come around, take the best that life's giving. Come around, take the gusto of Schlitz.
And now a word on behalf of Major League Baseball. At Baseball's Hall of Fame and Museum in Cooperstown, New York, you'll find not only items from the past, but a brand new exhibit room devoted to baseball today. The entire room is dedicated to today's teams and today's stars. Each of the 24 Major League teams represented by a separate display. Plan to visit Cooperstown, New York this fall to see the Hall of Fame. Open every day of the year except Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's. And it is in one of the most beautiful areas of our country. Final score, the Minnesota Vikings had a struggle. They edged the 49ers today, 17-13. Minnesota still undefeated. Mike Andrews has gone to second base. And the Rams are still undefeated. They won their 5th in a row. They beat Dallas 37-31. Rusty Staub in the 9th inning fouls it back, and the San Diego Chargers so far upsetting the Oakland Raiders 10-6 in the 3rd period. We have 3 undefeated teams left in professional football. Rusty Staub, the batter. Ball, 1 strike 1. Staub playing with an injured shoulder. Grounded out, fly it out, struck out, fly it out. 0 for 4. John Odom pitching in his 2nd inning of relief. Staub has a base hit to center. He's recovering. Cleon Jones has been on base 3 times. He homered to right field in the 2nd. There's Staub's swing. He's still favoring that arm. Now, he didn't take that really big swing of his. Willie Mays has gone in a run at first base for Staub. Mays at first, 42 years old as a pinch runner. Received a standing ovation yesterday when he was introduced. Said today he really appreciated it from the Oakland fans, American League fans across the bay. Jones has been on 3 times. His tennis holding against Mays. Jones has homered, single, walked, and grounded out. He's had 4 hits in 2 games of this series. A pop-up by Cleon Jones. Backpedaling is Gene Tennis. The foul ball, and he has it, and there's 1 out. You Oakland fans looking to the last of the 9th. Odom, the pitcher, scheduled to lead off. Then to the top of the order, Campaneris and Rudy. John Milner grounded out, flied out, singled, and walked. He scored 1 run. In the 4th quarter now, the Oakland Raiders have a 27-17 lead over San Diego. That ball's hit into right field. Willie Mays has stumbled. Mays stumbling going into 2nd, couldn't make the turn to come to 3rd. He lost his footing as he was approaching 2nd base.
Boy, here's an unusual thing. One of baseball's all-time greatest base runners had an easy shot going 1st to 3rd, and right there he was on the wrong step going around the bag. That's what caused it. He saw that he was off stride to hit the bag, and Willie fell down.
All right, that's Mays at 2nd. Milner at 1st. We're watching 2 players starting to come out of batting slumps. Reggie Jackson's had 2 hits today, and Milner now is starting to hit the ball again. He didn't hit much in the latter part of September of the playoffs. A strike to Jerry Grody. He's been on base 3 times. That's Lindblad warming up in the A's bullpen. In the 9th inning, the Mets are leading 6-4. They have 2 men on and 1 out. Grody's reached in an error, been hit by a pitch ball and single, and he's popped up. 1 strike to him. 1-1.
Sure, it would almost be a typical Willie Mays play. Try to make up for missing 3rd base if they give him a big lead to take off for 3rd here.
He's at 2nd. Milner's at 1st. There's a pop foul. That was fair. The infield fly rule would be called. Bando squeezes it for the 2nd out. And Don Hahn, the center fielder, will be up. The Mets will have a new right fielder in the last of the 9th inning. Mays could go to center with Hahn moving to right. Final, Oakland Raiders 27, San Diego 17. Did a great job on the anthem, Tennessee. Tennessee Ernie Ford, who sang our national anthem today, and he was really with it. 1 ball, no strikes. Mays at second. Milner at first, 2 down. 6-4. New York Mets in the 9th inning. There's a bounding ball at the Campaneris. He makes the play to first to retire the side. No runs, 2 hits, no errors, 2 left. Last of the 9th coming up, 6-4 New York.
The Chrysler has always been designed to provide a special kind of comfort for driver and passenger. Today, that tradition continues. In the 1974 Chrysler New Yorker, in the comfort of knowing it's an automobile advanced in engineering. In the comfort of knowing there's an electronic ignition system, virtually maintenance-free. In the comfort of knowing the passenger compartment may be optionally cooled from 8 separate outlets. And in the comfort of knowing this is designed to be the quietest, most beautiful Chrysler ever built. The Chrysler has always been designed to provide a special kind of comfort for driver and passenger. 1974 Chrysler New Yorker, a totally new expression of an idea that has never changed.
That defensive change for the Mets sends Willie Mays to right field in place of Rusty Staub. Willie Mays is 22nd and last year of the National League. Started yesterday's game, now winds up in the last of the 9th inning today in right field. Now, wait a minute, they moved Willie to center field. I was wondering about that. Hahn went to center. I thought Mays would play center, and he went over to right field. Now they switched him. I don't know whether Yogi sent him out that way or changed his mind. So Mays goes to center, and Hahn over to right. And Darren Johnson is batting for John Odom in the last of the 9th inning. The Oakland A's are 2 runs behind. They have Bert Campaneris on deck and then Joe Rudy. And Dick Williams now comes out to talk to the home plate umpire, Augie Donatelli. Darren Johnson went into a bad slump the last month of the year. He's got a floating bone chip in his hand. He didn't have any extra base hits since late August. He wound up the year batting .246, 19 homers, 81 RBIs. But after the A's secured him and made him their designated hitter, he gave him a big boost.
One of the biggest boosts of the season. They're talking about the lights. The lights are on here at the Oakland Coliseum right now, Kurt, even though the sunshine is out very brightly. But the first day that Darren Johnson joined the A's, he knocked in 4 runs, and he took off from there. And he had a lot of the big kind of hits that the pros really get. With 2 out and the A's behind by a run or 2, he would get a lot of them.
Darren Johnson pinch hitting, and the A's now have only 1 right-handed pinch hitter left. That's Alan Lewis. They have 2 left-handers in the dugout, Davalillo and Burt. But after Johnson, they're going to the top of their order.
Umpires are asking him to turn the lights off here at the Coliseum. It's unusual that the manager complained about it being too bright.
So the lights go off. And now the pitcher, McGraw's working out of the sunshine into the shadows of the batter, which is disconcerting for a hitter. A strike for the fastball. Tug McGraw working on his 4th inning. He's allowed 1 run in 3 innings of relief today. There's a smash in the left center. Willie Mays over, and it gets by him. He lost his footing again. Darren Johnson's in the second. Willie Mays stumbling again as he did on the bases. He can't seem to get his coordination together today with his feet.
Boy, Kurt, this is the thing that I think all sports fans in all areas hate to see, is a great one playing in his last years having this kind of trouble, standing up and falling down, that kind of thing. We'll have a pinch runner now. The Panamanian Express, Alan Lewis, goes in to run for Darren Johnson.
I think the sun bothered Willie. 10 years ago, he would have put that ball in his hip pocket.
Underhanded.
With blindfolds on him.
Right.
And a handkerchief. So Darren Johnson, they have scored a double. for Darren Johnson. He's replaced by Alan Lewis. Now Barrett has to be worried. The A's have the top of the order up, and the batter Campaneris is the tying run. Alan Lewis, a pinch runner at second. Campaneris looks at ball one. They're not looking for any bunt, but they're looking for Campy to slap the ball, and they're playing tight at first and third. Ball two. 2-0 to Campaneris.
Boy, this is the man the Mets really want to keep off the bases, and as he guards the third base foul line, they can't allow any kind of an extra base hit here.
Miller is playing the same way over at first. Campaneris has tripled today in 3 times. Strike to Campaneris, 2-1. George Stone, a left-hander. Charlie Finley and American League President Joe Cronin chatting. Dick Williams. Strike 2. McGraw comes right in with it. 2-2 to Bert Campaneris. Alan Lewis is out at second base with nobody out in the last of the 9th inning. Tug McGraw. 2-2 delivery. Low to him, ball 3, 3-2.
He had him fooled there, Kurt. That was a screwball. If that's over the plate, Campaneris was through.
3-2. Joe Rudy will be up next. Good shot of that sunshine, and then the ball spinning into the shadows. 3-2 delivery. Struck him out. A high pitch, and he got away with it. So Tuck McGraw has struck out his 4th batter in 3 1/3 innings of relief.
You can see, Kurt, how hard it is to walk Campaneris. This looked like ball 4, possibly. Well, it might not have been all that high either. You can't tell from this angle, but from up here looking down at it, it looked as if he might have swung at ball 4. With 2 strikes, he didn't want to take any chances on what would happen. I think the big surprise to me in McGraw's pitching and a lot of the A's is the big strikes he's getting on his fastball, Kurt.
Well, he put him down in order in the 6th. He had troubles in the 7th. He hit a batter, walked the man, had a double, and he came right back in the 8th to retire the side. Darren Johnson led off the 9th with a double, but he struck out Campaneris, and Joe Rudy's up. Rudy's doubled and singled in 3 official trips. Ball 1 and walked. Joe Rudy's been on base 3 times. 6-4, the New York Mets are 2 outs away from evening up the World Series. Sending it back to New York Tuesday night at Shea Stadium. 1 ball, no strikes. 1-1 to Rudy. A fastball again.
He has really challenged some of these hitters with that. He challenged Tennis twice and struck Bando out with it.
You have to have some flair to be a great reliever. McGraw has that flair. 1 ball, 1 strike. Of course, good stuff helps, too. He hits it to third. Dropped by Garrett. Up. He still has time, and he's got him. Garrett kept his presence. He was looking to second to see what Lewis was going to do. Knocked it down. Kept his cool and still made the play.
He's right on that foul line, too, Kurt. There's a ball that might have been tough for him if he's off the line. He just took his eyes off the ball, you could see, to see what Lewis was going to do. But he had it in front of him. It was no tough play at all.
All right, the A's are down to their last out. Dick Williams doesn't like it. Sal Bando has tripled in 4 times. There's a runner at second. 2 down. The A's are 2 runs behind. George Stone continues to nonchalantly warm up in the Met bullpen in case it would be needed. A ball to Bando. Lewis at second. Doug McGraw, native Californian. Foul ball, 1-1. Lewis at second. I think the A's better get used to looking at McGraw. I think they're going to see plenty of him in this series.
And Yogi just kept throwing those left-handers out there. Parker worked only one inning today.
There's his screwball. I mean, he's really got these A's tied up with that pitch. He's missed with some of them. Tom Seaver, John Matlack, alongside of Berra, starting to get a happy look on their faces. The 1-2 pitch, 2-2 to Bandel. McGraw teasing everybody with more suspense. 6-4 Mets, last of the ninth. 2-2. Foul back.
Right at him with a letter-high fastball, and I doubt that Bando sees another one of those.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Lewis leads off second. Didn't miss by much inside. 3-2. Pitch. All 4, and the A's have the tying runs on. The batter is Reggie Jackson. Just missed. All right, now Jackson, after striking out and grounding out, singled to right in the 5th and doubled to right in the 7th. He doubled off McGraw. And they're waving. Let's see who they're trying to bring in. They're waving the right fielder on.
They're trying to move Willie Mays over a little bit, maybe. Yeah, Willie was playing him straight up. They're trying to move Mays over in center field into right center.
Reggie Jackson up. The tying runs on for the A's. 2 down, last of the 9th inning. Breaking delivery over for a strike. Charlie Finley. Jackson 2 out of 4. Hitless yesterday. And remember, he has real power. 32 homers this year. We haven't seen that power in the playoffs or the World Series yet. 1 strike. He hits a ground ball into right field. Lewis is scoring. Over to third is Bandel. And it's now 6-5, New York. And the A's have the tying run at third, the winning run at first, as Jackson delivers his 3rd hit in a row.
Well, that's a look at the crowd that has gotten used to seeing the A's play tight ball games. And now Gene Tennis, the hero of last year for the A's in the World Series, is going to come up for another shot at it. McGraw struck him out in the 7th inning, and he did it by starting him off with 2 fastballs. Then he threw 2 screwballs, missing with 1, getting the other one over. Now, if you're Gene Tennis, what are you going to be guessing here?
Well, I know Tennis was the hero of the series last year. This year, the Mets have checked him. He walked twice, hit into a double play, and struck out today. And he hits it into left field. The A's have tied the game. The A's tie it up and have a chance to win it now. Tennis drilled a hard line drive. And look at those banners going behind the A's dugout. And the crowd on its feet roaring here in the Oakland Coliseum. They didn't make much noise here in Oakland. All right, Jesus Allou's up. Allou to the box. We're going to extra innings. Allou bounces out on the first pitch. The A's tied it in the 9th. They had 2 runs on 3 hits. No errors and left 2. At the end of 9, a game 6-6.
Injector shavers, the best shave of your life is just ahead. Introducing Track 2 twin injector blades. Twin blades
blades that fit your injector razor. Now you can get twin blade closeness and safety. As the first edge shaves, it lifts the whiskers so the second edge can shave it again. With closeness and safety never possible from injector shaving until Track 2 twin injector blades, new from Gillette, for the best injector shave of your life.
Nobody wants to look at underarm stains, but they're a real problem. You use an antiperspirant, you still get stains. Stains that won't wash out. Well, now there's a new antiperspirant. The first anti-stain antiperspirant by Right Guard. A new powder so effective, it helps stop wetness and stains. See for yourself. New Right Guard Powder Dry Antiperspirant. It's the first anti-stain antiperspirant by Right Guard.
Raleigh Fingers. The roar to Reggie Jackson out in center. Jackson getting a standing ovation out there from the fans. He acknowledges it. 3 hits in a row today off left-handed pitching. They're going out his first 2 times up. Dick Williams is going over the lineup cards now with the umpire, Augie Donatelli. And Raleigh Fingers, who yesterday went 3 2/3 innings. Yogi Berra saw his club blow that lead in the 9th. 3 1/3 yesterday for Raleigh Fingers. The Mets will have Bud Harrelson leading off. We don't know who will bat next. Harrelson's played shallow. Fingers, 6 games. He appeared in last World Series. The second one today.
Now I think they're asking to turn the lights on now, Kurt.
Lights are on. Dick Williams went out and talked before the 9th about turning the lights on. He turned them off. The lights are not on. The shadows now are deeper, as you can see. They're gradually creeping toward the pitching mound. Maybe they want these lights on now to cut the shadows. You have to turn the lights on before the start of an inning. Same advantage or disadvantage for both teams, however you want to put it.
Dick Williams is trying to find the electrician, I believe.
Maybe he has a card.
Fingers is in bright sunshine here, but the shadows come on very quickly right out in front of that mound.
Doug McCraw is still out on deck. He would be due to bat behind Harrelson. John Odom did a good job in relief for the A's with his club behind. He came in and pitched the 8th and 9th innings and shut out the Mets. Kept his team close. And game 2 of the World Series is tied 6-6. We're going to the 10th inning. The A's were trailing 6-3 today, and they got a run in the 7th and 2 in the 9th. The last 8 times that a series game went into extra innings, it was decided in the 10th. No series game has gone more than 10 innings since the Dodgers beat the Yankees 6-5 in 11 innings in 1952. Up on the A's scoreboard, they have a sign, "Go get him, Raleigh." Here are the lights on now. Go get him, Raleigh, as the lights come on.
They're trying to get Joe Rudy's attention in left field. Irv Norton, you saw there a minute ago waving. That's at whom they were waving. They're trying to get him in for Harrelson.
All right, Bud Harrelson. 1 hit in 4 times. Played shallow and toward left. Bando. In close at third is the strike. Raleigh Fingers yesterday. 3 1/3 innings. He allowed 3 hits, no runs. He walked 1. He struck out 3. He was a bit wild the first 2 innings of relief. The 1 strike pitch. Blowing away to Bud Harrelson. And now the sign goes out to the Met bullpen again, Monty. It's George Stone. Number 40, George Stone. This will be about the 3rd time he's warmed up. Strike 2. Now the A's fans are on fire. They've seen their team come back with a dramatic rally in the last of the 9th. They smell blood.
We've seen it so many times here this year, Kurt. It's just been incredible how many times they'll be behind in the 9th and go out and tie it up or win it.
The 1-2 pitch to Harrelson. It crowds him for a 2-2 count.
I think that's the big advantage you have at a home crowd, Kurt, and they tell us the Shea Stadium has got to be that way, and that's why the Mets felt they were favored when they went back for the final 3 against Cincinnati at home.
There's nobody will ever argue. You'd rather have that last time at bat. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Foul ball by Bud Harrelson. 2-2. Top of the 10th. Harrelson leads it off. 5 pitchers today have been used by the Oakland A's. There's a shot by Campaneris in the center field. Bud Harrelson's on to start the 10th. Just to the left of Campy. Now McGraw is coming out. And everybody in the park's looking for him to bunt.
I would imagine that right here, here's the pitch. You can see where it was on Harrelson. It was about waist high right down the middle, and he just hit it out of the reach of Campaneris. With Dick Green in the lineup, the A's might have their second baseman charging here, but Mike Andrews hasn't played that much at second base for Oakland, so I would imagine that Bando and Tennis would be the men charging the plate here, and Andrews would go to cover first.
Andrews is the 3rd second baseman used by the A's today. Doug McGraw. Bando will be ready to come in on him. He's already creeping in. Goes Tennis. It's pushed to the box. Fingers throws to second. Safe. Back to first. Out. But Harrelson safe at second. And the Mets now have the go-ahead run at second base. Fingers gambled. And he was late at second base.
Here comes Bando in, but they bunt the ball away from Bando. Fingers picked it up. Made a good throw. Just out of our picture where Campaneris' foot was on that angle, but you can see that his relay to first did nail the runner there for 1 out.
1 out. Top of the order up now. Wayne Garrett. Let's take a look at this runner going into second on that last play. This is Bud Harrelson. And he beats the throw. He's safe. Ball 1 to Wayne Garrett. Garrett hit a home run in the 3rd. That's been his lone hit today. He has struck out 3 times a walk. 1 out of 4. Game tied 6-6 in the top of the 10th. Bud Harrelson at second, 1 down. Downing ball to first base. Bad hop. Tennis flips to Fingers. Safe! Fingers off the bag. Fingers was not on the bag. The ball nearly hopped over Tennis's head on a bad hop. Fingers came over on a high throw. His feet were not on the bag.
Here it is again. You'll see it take a terrible hop over Gene Tennis, and he made a fine play just getting to it. Oh, looks like it might have hit the bag.
Might have hit the front of the bag.
Fine play by Tennis right here, but now he's got to toss it to Fingers. And his foot is off the bag as he went up to catch it.
I'd like to see the finish of that. Dick Williams out. Gary Newdecker umpiring at first.
That'll be a throwing error on Gene Tennis.
So the Mets have runners on first and third now, 1 down. Bando, Fosse, Williams, Fingers in the conference. Felix Millan, who gets a piece of the ball, will be the next man up for the Mets. It'll be interesting to see how they play the infield here in the top of the 10th with the game tied 6-6. Just about everything's happened in this game, Monty.
Boy, it's been a great one, and if you like action, this has been it. The A's many times here will play a little bit up beyond halfway and go the double play if they have it. But with Millan running, I think he's a pretty good runner, Kurt, and I would imagine that they'd definitely take a look at the plate and just make sure they cut that guy off there here.
Millan now has gone hitless in 4 times. The A's have the infield drawn in. with one out, runners on first and third. Ball, look out. Boy, coming up was Harrelson.
Somebody missed a sign.
They missed a sign, and I thought Fosse had a chance to pick him off. Harrelson was really coming up, and it appeared as if they had the squeeze on, but not the suicide squeeze. Now Bando and Mike Andrews, the second baseman, he wants to counsel him. Bando looks to the A's dugout to get a sign. How do you want to play? That's the signals they use. Monty can explain that to you.
Right, the A's have a series of signs, and Bando always flicks them, and he'll use his shirt or his head. On the coverage plays, they use their shirt, and on trick plays, Bando uses his head, his ears, nose, mouth.
1 ball, no strikes to Felix Millan. Runners on first and third for the Mets. There's a smash foul down the right field line. Wayne Garrett going back to first, and Bud Harrelson the third. Oh, this Harrelson's a fine little ball player.
Does a lot of things to beat you, to keep innings alive, and to cut off the big offense with his fine defensive plays.
1 ball, 1 strike. Raleigh Fingers pitching to Felix Millan. Willie Mays is on deck. Ball 2, strike 1. 2-1. 2 runners again. Mays intently watching from the on-deck circle. This is a 2-1 pitch coming up. It's a high fly into left field. Not too deep. Rudy's there. Tagging is Harrelson. Will he gamble? He's coming. Here's the throw. And he is out at home plate. He's out. Willie Mays rushing up. Yogi Berra arguing. The Mets have gone wild on the double play. Joe Rudy throws out Bud Harrelson. Look at Mays arguing. Here it is, Monty.
Here it is. Harrelson was going to go all the way. The throw from Rudy, who is a fine thrower, got to Fosse. The question is, did Fosse tag him? He's got it in plenty of time to tag him. He might have missed him right there. You can't tell with this angle, but he definitely had a shot at him.
Let's look at this angle now. Rudy lets it go. A great throw by Rudy. Coming in. Fosse has it now, reaches for it, but it appears that he missed it.
Hey, look at the position of the umpire here, Kurt. He's lying down on the ground. Look at this. He really wants to get a look at it.
Look at Willie Mays saying, no! Right down there with the umpire.
Beauty. We do not always agree on its definition, but if beauty can be grace, spirit, dignity, and strength, then surely many will consider this truly beautiful. The 1974 Imperial LeBaron. Some will find beauty in the precision of LeBaron's design and assembly. For others, it will lie in things of touch and texture, of convenience and comfort. Ultimately, only you may decide if all this fits your own personal definition of beauty. If so, then we welcome you to Imperial LeBaron, a proud new generation of luxury motor car from Chrysler.
See what you fans think of this play. This will be discussed all night tonight. Here's Bud Harrelson coming in on a fly ball to shallow left. Rudy's making his throw now to the plate to Fosse. And it appears to us on this rerun that he is not tagged. Fosse reaching out on that rerun from that angle definitely looked like he missed him. But here's the last of the 10th. Ray Fosse's up, and the first pitch is strike. Well, we showed you that rerun. They'll be rerunning that 100 times tonight around America. News shows on NBC. Strike. 1 ball, 1 to Fosse, who's hitless in 3 times. So that was a double play. And the game is tied 6-6 in the last of the 10th. The screwball by Tug McGraw has Fosse fooled. McGraw has pitched 4 innings of relief. Allowed 4 hits, 2 runs, walked 2. He has struck out 3. He pitched 2 innings yesterday. He's actually given 3 runs up today. Tantalizing. Pitch again, a 2-2 count. Mike Andrews is on deck. And then the pitcher, Raleigh Fingers. That's Andrews. Struck him out on a fastball. McGraw, you know, he gives you this, gives you that. He didn't suddenly pop that fastball in. 1 out in the last of the 10th inning for the Oakland A's. The late Tudor's in. They were trailing 6-3. They scored a run in the 7th. Reggie Jackson's double in the 9th. They had 2 down. Bando walk. Jackson single. After Johnson had led off with a double. Ball that Willie Mays lost somewhat in the sun. Foul back. Jackson knocked in a run. Then Gene Tennis singled to left on the first pitch to drive in the tying run. So the A's rallied to keep it going.
Kurt Mike Andrews was on Dick Williams' 1967 Boston Red Sox Miracle Championship team in the American League.
The strike. He did a good job that year for the Red Sox, especially with the bat. A manager never forgets a player that does a good job. You know, he has confidence in him, Monty.
That's right, and as soon as he became available from Chicago, Dick Williams told Charlie Finley, I'd like to have him. He'll be able to help us.
2-strike pitch to Mike Andrews. A ball, 1-2. This game is tied 6-6, last of the 10th inning. It's been packed with just about everything you'd want. Home runs, some bad plays, some great plays. The most discussed play, though, will be the tag at the plate that they have called a double play.
Kurt, I think that shot that we had of Willie Mays down on his knees pleading with Donatelli was as dramatic a shot as I've ever seen on television.
He wasn't pleading, I don't think.
Not exactly.
2-2. I think he was saying some other things. A 2-2 delivery. All 3 in the dirt to Mike Andrews. 3-2. Raleigh Fingers will be up next. There's no action in the A's bullpen. And there's Fingers. 2 of baseball's premier relievers are going at it now, Fingers and McGraw. The 3-2 pitch. Strike 3, he's out. McGraw's had an odd pattern today. He puts him down in order 1 inning, and he struggled the next inning. Came back in the 8th after giving up a run, facing 6 batters in the 7th. He put him down in order in the 8th. And he gave up 2 runs in the 9th. Now he's retired the first 2 batters in the 10th. Raleigh Fingers. With 2 down, nobody on. 6-6 tie. Ball 1 to Fingers. Campaneris on deck. One ball, 1 strike. If we go to the 11th, there's Campaneris. Mays, Jones, and Milner will be up for the Mets. And Monty Moore will be telling you about it. A 1-1 pitch. 2-1. 2 balls, 1 strike. $50,000 fans today, and a beautiful sunshiny day. Watch a high fly. Mays out in center field. Willie's coming on. And he has it. I think he lost the ball in the sun at first. He's out. 1, 2, 3, they go down. We're going to the 11th inning with a score 6-6.
Dry look. Doug Higgins, wethead.
Hey,
Doug...
wait a minute. I'm not a wethead by choice. My hair is just naturally oily. Looks wet even when it isn't.
No problem, Doug. For you, Gillette has a brand new kind of aerosol hair control. The dry look for oily hair. It's specially formulated to absorb excess oils, to leave oily hair looking clean, natural, and dry. Adjustable valve sprays as light as you like.
Doug Higgins, the dry look for oily hair.
You are about to get a bird's eye view of the difference between a one-blade shave on your left and a two-bladed Track 2 shave on your right. As both razors shave, the first blade lifts the whisker out from the face. But the Track 2 razor has a second blade that can shave the whisker again, closer, before it all snaps back. Even with two strokes, no one-blade razor can make that statement. And the Track 2 is safer because the blades are recessed. The Gillette Track 2 razor, the first razor with two blades.
We pause now for station identification.
Mom may remarry, and Stanley demands to meet her boyfriend on Lots of Luck tomorrow night.
Willie Mays batting in the 11th inning with a count of 1 ball and no strikes. Ball 2.
Honey, it's interesting. Tony Kubek has come back upstairs. He was down on the field preparing for some post-game interviews if we had time. Did you hear anything down there interesting on that tag at the plate?
I did overhear something, and I saw 3 angles on the replay, which it was difficult to tell on, but I did overhear Fosse saying to his own players, I think I brushed him.
With the ball or the shoulder? 2-0 on Willie Mays. Fouled off, and you know Willie's trying to hit one downtown here. Fingers came on in relief in the 10th inning. This is high ball 3. On deck, Jones. Paul Lindblad goes to work in the Oakland bullpen. Willie pops it up. It's right out in front of the plate, and Raleigh Fingers is calling for Gene Tennis to make the play on it. He staggered around a little bit and caught it. That couldn't have been lost in the sun. Look at Gino. Look at my heart.
Relief he has.
I tell you, he's a dandy.
Gene, World Series pressure taking place right now. Gino really making sure on it.
Here's Cleon Jones. He homered in the 2nd inning, singled in the 4th, walked and scored in the 6th, and twice. They've gotten him since then on a ground out and a pop-up. Paul Lindblad sits down again. He's the only man left in the Oakland bullpen who is a reliever. Sidearm slider, ball 1. Fingers hasn't thrown many breaking balls since coming on here. Breaking ball, strike call. Fingers breaking ball is a hard slider, but it's a big breaking slider. He'll throw it either over the top or from the side. There it is. And he had Jones out front. The men who manage Major League Baseball teams have got to have some pretty tough boilers, particularly going through a 5-game playoffs. The Mets, of course, had that tough last week just to win the division. Taking a shot at the outside corner with a fastball. Raleigh missed it. There's Dick Williams. Twice has been manager of the year in the American League. Once with Boston and once with the Oakland A's. It hit him. Raleigh dropped down sidearm and hit Cleon Jones with a breaking ball.
Look at it again. Early in the ball game, we had an important pitch thrown by the opposing relief pitcher, Tug McGraw, which may have been a big pitch and had kept the A's in this ball game to go into extra inning. That was the one with 2 strikes, of course, that hit Campaneris off the helmet. A big run scored in that play.
1 out, 11th inning. Here's John Milner, who led the Mets in home runs this year. That umpire looking in, American League umpire Jerry Neudecker. Notice the difference in the uniforms of these umpires. American League umpires in maroon jackets, the National Leaguers in dark blue. Fouled off, and he really got a good pitch to hit right then. Scores tied at 6 apiece after 2 out. In the 9th inning, Sal Bando worked McGraw for a walk. Reggie Jackson followed with a single. Gene Tennis followed with another, and that tied the game. Fingers missing, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. You can just see him once in a while rear back and really try to get something extra on that fastball. The outfielders are all deep. Jackson, the center fielder, shaded just a bit towards right center field for Milner. Foul ball. I don't know what the longest streak that McGraw has worked this year, but he worked a couple of innings yesterday. He's gone 5 today. Fingers was in yesterday's game for 3 innings.
Both bullpens, especially McGraw and Fingers, going to relish that off day tomorrow, give them some rest for Tuesday.
Milner's really trying to jerk one here. He's been on top of those last 2 pitches. From behind first base, you see Gene Tennis holding the inside corner against Cleon Jones. Breaking ball. He tried the give-up pitch then and missed outside, says the plate umpire. That was that little subtle motion with the left hand. The give-up pitch is one where they're ahead of the batter. They started off outside to make it look as if it's going to be way outside. The batter will give up on it. It just keeps turning and hits that outside corner. Raleigh thought he had it. Struck him out with a breaking ball. Raleigh Fingers' first strikeout, and Sal Bando goes in to talk. And what he's going to remind Raleigh Fingers of here is to keep the ball down on Jerry Grody, because this player has some power. He just missed the foul pole yesterday. The A's 6, the Mets 6, 11th inning of game number 2 being played at the Oakland Coliseum. Strike call. Good live fastball. Sal Bando, the Oakland A's third baseman, giving up a lot of ground to his left as he stands almost on the foul line at third base. It would take an extra base blow here to score the runner from first, and they're not going to get it to the right of Bando. Raleigh missing outside. It's 1 ball, 1 strike.
This is a must game for the Mets. They're having that lead. They let this one get away. Down 2 games. Put them in a tough spot, even though they're going home.
They're going home. They've got their 2 aces to go those next 2 games, Seaver and Matlack. Breaking ball, just missed. Boy, Fingers' slider's really breaking a long ways, and he's missing awfully close on some of it.
Breaking so much. There's Yogi Berra, the only other man to win a pennant, both the National and the American League. The other, Joe McCarthy. It's breaking almost as big as a flat curveball of these right-handers. Bigger than the slider, as you normally call a slider.
Back to the fastball. He missed outside with it. He's gone to 3-1 count now. And a batter that he didn't want to have to get behind. Trouble with that breaking ball. It's when he hangs it on the inside to the right-hand batter, because the batter's first reaction is to bail out just a little bit. See if Jones goes on a 3-1 count here. He's not going. Line drive left field. It's a base hit. Jones goes to second as Rudy picks the ball up, and now the Mets have a man in scoring position, and Don Hahn comes up. Fingers missed with some awfully close pitches on Grody, and then got to the count where he had to throw one in there, and Grody drove it into left. Hahn got a base hit that knocked in a run in the 6th inning. It was a top roller down the third base line with the bases loaded off Horacio Pena. Fingers went at him with hard stuff. The A's have kept away from Hahn mostly in this series. Fingers went after him that time. About to the middle of the plate, but up high, looking at the runners. At second, Jones, and at first, Grody. 2 down in the 11th. The A's will have the top of their batting order up in the last of the 11th. Foul ball over the Met bullpen and into the crowd. Jones goes back to second base. Sal Bando in from third a little ways. Fosse's going to talk to Raleigh now.
2 strikes on this hitter. They don't want to make a mistake right here. They can afford to really shoot for the corners. Little reminder, don't lose your concentration in this situation.
Boy, he busted it high. That's as hard as Raleigh's thrown the ball today. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Don Hahn, a .227 hitter who's driven in 21 runs this year for New York. And he was tough down the stretch for them. Back to the curveball. It's hit on the ground at Campaneris. He's going to go to first base. Got him. We go to the last half of the 11th inning. The score, the Mets 6 and the A's 6.
In 4 meetings with Detroit since time it.
The New York Mets started their 11th year of National League play with newcomers Rusty Staub and Jim Fregosi, helping to comprise a set lineup, the likes of which no Mets club had ever possessed. Opening day set the trend for an up-tempo start, with Fregosi and Staub coming through and veteran Ed Kranepool blasting a home run, while Tom Seaver and Tug McGraw combined to shut out the defending world champion Pirates 4-0. The Mets' quick leap out of the starting gate was aided by an exciting rookie outfielder with good speed and power, John Milner. Jim Fregosi, acquired from the California Angels, took over the third base position. (1971's All-Star shortstop, Bud Harrelson, continued his sparkling all-around play as the 1972 season got underway. Baseball's premier right-hander, Tom Seaver, got off winging with 7 up and 1 down. Rookie rookie southpaw sensation John Matlack was a winner in his first 6 decisions. And if any starting pitcher happened to falter, Tug McGraw's relief work was absolutely flawless. The Mets were in first place, off to their finest start ever, and the fans were in ecstasy. Now, as if that weren't enough, the Mets management gave New Yorkers something else they've always treasured.
Hello, Willie. It's great to have you back where you belong. The Shea Stadium scoreboard tells it all, and the fans tell it like it is.
It's beautiful. Unreal.
I think it's wonderful.
It's great.
It's fantastic.
I really don't know, I was always a Willie Mays fan.
We need him for the stickball game, right?
I couldn't say,
I often dreamed about it. I think it's fantabulous.
All I know, like when he was on the Dodgers, he was good,
I think it's a great thing for New York and Willie Mays.
The Giants.
Nos gusta y estamos contentos que estás con los Mets.
It's the best thing that ever happened to me.
The feeling that I had when I came back was no expressing it. It was just a feeling that a town wanted a fellow to come back, and I think they showed that by in the way they treated me when I first came back, and it's just terrific just to be back.
Willie Mays made his New York Mets debut on a rain-swept, chilly Sunday afternoon in May. But over 35,000 eager fans turned out to roar their tribute to number 24. Willie was greeted by standing ovations with every move he made. He led off with a walk in the first and scored on a Rusty Staub grand slam. Then, Mays came up in the bottom of the fifth with the score Giants 4, Mets 4. The crowd tense with every pitch as Willie ran the count to 3-2 as we pick up Lindsey Nelson's play-by-play.
Payoff pitch to Mays, and it's way back in left field. It could be. It's going, and it is a home run. A home run for Willie Mays, number 647 in his career. Willie Mays gets a great ovation from the crowd and in the dugout from the Mets as he belted a 3-2 pitch over the left field wall.
For sheer drama and excitement, it was an incredible moment as Willie's home run gave the Mets a 5-4 win over his old teammates.
When I went to the plate the first time, it was a strange feeling. Plus, when I hit the home run in the fifth inning, it was just a feeling that I didn't seem like I wanted to go around the bases, but you have to get used to that. And I never think home run too much. Most of the time when you think home run, you don't even hit the ball at all. But it just seemed like the stage was set at that particular time that I had to do something. And luckily, I say I was just lucky at that particular time that I did hit the home run. And I think the way I felt, that the players on the Giants felt that they had to get beat. They'd rather for me to beat them, and this is the way I feel, going around the bases,
With Willie Mays playing a major role, the red-hot Mets ran off 11 straight victories to establish a 6-game lead over the second-place Pirates. And then, disaster struck in the form of an injury jinx that defied belief. John Milner, Cleon Jones, Jim Fregosi, Rusty Staub, and Bud Harrelson were all forced to the sidelines. Yogi Berra called on the versatile Ted Martinez to fill in at second base. At shortstop. At third base. And even in the outfield. Third baseman Jim Fregosi had to lend a hand at shortstop on occasion. And at first base, too. At one point, the troops were so depleted that manager Berra called on catchers Duffy Dyer and Jerry Grody to give it a try in right field. Although the Mets were decimated by injury, the fans remained healthy. Once again, Shea Stadium led the Major League's attendance figures by a wide margin. Banner Day produced a host of get-well messages for the injured corps. Family Day always an entertaining happening, featured the Mets' offspring with a display of hitting and base running that could only be described as different. Old-timers Day, reunited players from the New York Mets' first 10 years. Roger Craig, Joe Christopher, Jay Hook, Johnny Lewis, Rod Cannell. Mrs. Joan Payson greets Willie Mays while Casey Stengel makes a grand entrance on a grand day. Let's not forget a young-timer who was mighty big at Shea in 1972. John Matlack led the pitching staff in shutouts with 4, recorded 15 wins, had a brilliant 2.32 earned run average, and was named the National League's Rookie of the Year. Jerry Koosman showed signs of returning to the form that made him an All-Star in 1968 and 69. Jim McAndrew had his best season as a Met with a 2.8 earned run average. Tom Seaver was Tom Seaver, and that spells All-Star in any league. Seaver had his third 20-game season with a 21-12 mark and almost made the record books with a gallant try at a no-hitter on July 4th against San Diego. For the second time in his career, Seaver was only 3 outs away from perfection. With over 40,000 fans cheering him on, the first out was easy enough. Wayne Garrett to Ed Kranepool. Leron Lee was next. Lee's single to center halted the no-hit effort, and suddenly Seaver was faced with a tying run at home plate in the person of Big Nate Colbert. Seaver induced Colbert to ground into a game-ending double play to preserve the shutout and the 4th one-hitter of his career. Although Tom Seaver had an outstanding season, there were some critics who dwelt on his mid-season slump. Tom answered them on September 20th with a 1-run, 15-strikeout masterpiece against the Pirates.
It's nice at the end of the year to pitch a game like that, knowing that you're not over the hill at 27 years old. I mean, those things begin to go through your mind. You wonder if all the troubles that you've had all summer long are really a manifestation of age and wear and tear on your body. And you wonder if you'll ever be able to pitch the way that you know you can. And it's that type of game, striking out 15 and winning a game, giving up 1 run, and is a great morale booster. It's a great game to live the winter on, and it gives you a positive approach as opposed to, say, a negative approach that you might have to live with all winter.
Tug McGraw had a positive approach all year long with 27 saves, an unbelievable 1.7 ERA. And when the 1972 All-Star game was on the line, the National League called for Tug.
As I started warming up in the last time I warmed up, I knew that I had a chance to be in the ball game because there was a lot of left-handed hitters coming up, and so I was really concentrating more or less on making good pitches. And then, as I started to go into the game itself on the cart, they called me into the ball game, and I realized I really was going to pitch in this ball game, and I started getting extremely nervous and almost to the point where I was afraid. But then I realized that
They chose me to be here. I deserve to be here. I'm a good ball player. There's no reason to be afraid if I can get these guys out. And so I just more or less talked myself into being confident.
McGraw sent Reggie Jackson down swinging. Norm Cash looked at a call, strike 3. Bobby Grich became Tug's third strikeout victim. Carlton Fisk went fishing, and McGraw had fanned 4 All-Stars. In 2 complete innings, McGraw allowed the American Leaguers no runs, 1 hit, and struck out 4.
I got through the inning all right, and I came back to the dugout, and I realized that if we could score this inning, we had a chance to win the ball game, then I'd be the winning pitcher. But the most important thing to me was the fact that the National League did recognize relief pitchers on the All-Star pitching staff.
And when Joe Morgan drove home the winning run to give the National Leaguers a 4-3 10-inning triumph, the winning pitcher was none other than New York's own Tug McGraw. Yogi Berra referred to Duffy Dyer as one of the brightest spots of an injury-plagued season. Duffy claimed the #1 catching spot and proved to be a reliable receiver with a rifle arm that kept opposition base runners honest. At the plate, Dyer added power to the Mets lineup and delivered in the clutch time and time again. First baseman Ed Kranepool is quite a veteran at age 28. He's participated in every season of the Mets' 11-year history. In 1972, Steady Eddie was a dependable performer during the entire campaign. Third base has been a long-time problem for the Mets. Jim Fregosi became the 46th player at that position since 1962. But injuries nagged Fregosi throughout the season, and he sat out 55 games. For Bud Harrelson, 1972 was a most exasperating season. The National League's All-Star shortstop in 70 and 71, Bud injured his back early in the year. The pain finally became too much. Harrelson was forced to the inactive list and missed over 40 games. Cleon Jones, a .319 hitter in 1971, was another star shadowed by that seemingly endless injury jinx. Cleon was sidelined for 50 games during the campaign. Despite the prolonged inactivity, Jones was the Mets' top RBI man in 1972. John Milner was one of the most exciting rookies in the National League. Watch him rob Frank Robinson of a home run with a spectacular catch. John Milner can do it all. Just 23 years old, the Hammer has that magic combination of speed and power you love to see in a young player. Another Met who was slowed by injury, Milner still topped the team's home run list with 17. What a thrill it was for New Yorkers to see Willie Mays roaming center field in a Mets uniform. Willie was pressed into regular duty in center field and at first base until sore knees became too troublesome. Wondrous Willie wound up the year as the Mets' third leading hitter and stroked the game winner 5 times. Rusty Staub was the epitome of Met frustrations. Obtained in a trade with Montreal just prior to the season, Rusty was the big, dependable bat the Mets were looking for. By mid-June, Staub was leading the team in all hitting departments, and the Mets were in first place. Then Rusty suffered a broken hand and missed 90 games. He didn't return until September 18th.
I really felt very strange when I returned to the lineup this year. It was almost like opening day again for me. I knew it wasn't, and I wasn't as excited as I am normally on an opening day, you know, like ahead of time. But when the game got to starting, I was most excited and very pleased that I was able to have a good night. And the way it turned out with myself getting a couple of hits and scoring a run made me feel very good that I was able to do that, not so much just for myself, but with you know, so many people wrote so many great cards and letters to me about, gee, I sure hope you get back in the lineup soon. I just was very pleased that I could have a good day for him. 73 for myself and for the Mets, I look forward to a lot of work in spring training. I think it's the basis for having a good season, and I'm sure we're going to have a unit that's going to be able to compete with Pittsburgh or Cincinnati or anybody that's in baseball.
With a healthy, rusty stab and continued improvement from the youngsters,